Okay, so in the last example we worked with file I/O using a simple array of the 7 dwarfs. You'll notice here that we now have parallel arrays, and we will also save this data to a text file, specifically a comma delimited text file. What do we mean by that? Here we have the text file, we have the dwarfs and the pounds of coal that each dwarf has mined, and each line of data, each line of text has the dwarf name and then a comma separator and then the number of pounds of coal that that dwarf mined. This is a very common file format. It's a very common way to want to save data to a file. You may have seen comma delimited text files already at some point. Maybe if you're working in Excel, or you can export data from Excel, and comma delimited file is one of the formats you can save it to. So again, very popular, very common thing to want to do. So I think I'll throw this in the recycle bin. So we're starting with a blank slate here. Now in our startup program we have parallel arrays. They're populated with data. We also have a bubble sort, sorting by the number of pounds of coal mined for the day, lowest to highest there. So we've already seen that in the program. So down here we'll write the code to save the parallel arrays to a comma delimited text file. And you know what, you probably could already figure this out at this point, knowing what you know now. All we're going to do is really build the output string for the line of output using the dwarf name, which we get from the dwarfs array, and then we're going to concatenate a comma to that, and then we will concatenate to that the pounds of coal. Okay, so again, really nothing that you haven't done before. You just haven't done it in this context. So I already have a file name. We're calling it dwarfs.txt, and we'll set up a loop. Now we're writing, and we know how many elements that we have in the array, so we can use the for loop. It works in this case. So we'll use, how about I equals 1, 2, and then we'll use our array object to get item count. I have 2 arrays I could use here. They're both the same size. I could use the dwarves array or the pounds of coal array. So we'll just use the dwarves array, but either one would be fine here. Okay, and I want to end that for. Okay, so inside the loop we have file.writeLine. Okay, let's look at the arguments for writeLine. We have the file path. I'm over here on the right. The file path, which is of course in the file name variable, dwarfs.txt. We need to provide the line number. We know that our loop counter, can take care of that for us. And then the contents. The contents are going to be concatenated together as the line of output. So we'll have the dwarf name, a comma appended to that, and then the amount of coal. Alright, so here we go. We have the file path, which is in the file name variable. We need to provide the line number, which we'll use I for that. And then we have to construct our little concatenation thing here. So we want first and foremost the dwarves, the name of the dwarf, which is coming from the dwarves array. Of course, use my loop counter as array index as usual when we're processing arrays. Okay, and then I will concatenate to that a comma in quotes. Alright, and then concatenate to that the pounds of coal, which is in the pounds of coal array. Also loop counter as array index. So we're processing our arrays in parallel here. Okay, that should do it. I already have a feedback line here so that the user doesn't just see a quick flash. They know that they can open up the data file. So let's run it. We'll see if we get our comma delimited text file. Okay, so far so good. Here we go, and there it is. Okay, so in the next video we'll learn how to take a comma delimited text file and read that data back into a program and put the data into parallel arrays.